Alright, we're going to kind of expand on this idea of medians. We're going to look at a couple of, let's see here, 3 or 4 new terms. So we are already dealing with this idea of median, and that separates the top 50 from the bottom 50. But then we're going to also look at this idea of quartile. And what quartile is this we're working with quarters. And so if you think about a quarter of $, it's 25 cents. So this is going to separate, like 25% and 75%. We're also going to talk about something that's called the interquartile range, and IQR for short. And this is what we're going to consider normal. We're going to talk about accepted normal. And we're going to end with this idea of outliers. Spelling for that one, but we'll spell it right when we get there. So we're going to do all of this by looking at this data set. So this is just a quick data set talking about driver's test scores. So the best you can get is a 25. Someone down here hopefully is not on the roads right now. And we were just looking at these different scores. The question to ask is, like, how many outliers do you see? And this is where our box plot really comes into play. Because if we look at our box plot, if we look at this histogram, something that we say is, someone might say, okay, this guy's an outlier. An outlier is simply just this idea, something else went on. It wasn't included in our data set. So clearly this is the peak, and this is clearly a clump, so those are all good. But is this guy okay? Is this guy okay? Is this guy okay? Is this guy okay? Should we just all say that they didn't study and they're not part of the problem? Or what are we looking at here? And so that's what we want to look at. We're going to start looking at what is most likely. What's the percent that we could, what percent of people get a 25? What percent of people get a 15? You get between a 15 and 20, what percentage is that? So that's what we're going to look at. To do that, we're going to look at just a normal median. So if you guys look here, these are all those scores listed out. And we're going to find a couple things first. So let's first find our median. So our median value is, again, what separates the top 50 from the bottom 50. So I like to go ahead and say, okay, cross out the first, cross out the last, first, 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 last, and then we got 23. So there should be here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that is perfect. That is right where we want, and we see that 23 is a median value. So now what I'm going to look at as I erase here is, okay, well, that's 50%. Now let's break it up into 25%. So I got rid of I should have counted. So I got my quartiles 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this is my median. So everything above this is going to be my top half, right? So this is my top half. Just because you're in the top half doesn't mean you're completely normal. And so we want to look at, okay, what separates the middle of this, and that's where it's going to get me my quartiles. And so I am only going to look at this section right here. And if we found, if it was a middle number that we found, we would kind of look at the entire thing. We would look at all data values in that point. See how 23 is still a part of this? We're still using it. It's still a data value that's important to us. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go first. I'm going to go first, last, first, last, first, last, first, last. And then I have this guy in here. And so he's going to be my backside. This one right here. I'm going to, that quartile 3 is 24. And 24 separates the top 25% from the bottom 75. So if you got a 24 above on your driving test, you're scored in the top 25%. But we can also look at on the other side, and we can say the bottom, and we can say, okay, I have first, last, first, last, first, last, first, last, and I have 19. And so my quartile 1 is 15. And this is just backwards. It's the top. It separates the top 65% from the bottom 25%. So if you got a 19, a 15, I'm sorry, this should be a 19. If you're 19 or below, you're in the bottom 25%. And so we can look at other things in here, and let's go ahead and build this. We're going to use these numbers to kind of build up what we call a box plot. So I'm going to build a box plot, and I'm going to look down here, and I'm just going to have a number line. And on that number line, we can go ahead and make some marks on it. And I don't need to worry much about that, but let's see, what did they go to? They went from 0 to 25. So I'm going to go 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. And we don't need 30. And then, so I'm just going to use that, and we can get close enough from there. But I'm going to first mark my median. I'm going to mark my median with a line. So here I have is 23. So I'm going to go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. So 23 is about right here. And it's going to be a line. And then I'm going to go in and I'm going to mark my quartile 3 at 24. So that's not quite 25, but it's right there. And then I'm going to go to 19 with my quartile 1. So this is 20, so it's just on the other side. Now, that is going to be my middle box. This is what I call my normal. My 50% normal. This is the middle 50%. So when we looked at this, if quartile 1 is breaking up the top 25, bottom 25, it cuts off the back bottom. If the top quartile 1 is looking at the top 25, it's cutting off that. And so this then is 50%. So this is my middle 50%. That's the most common. Commonly, we can see it in here with my cluster, with my group. Commonly, I'm between 19 and 24. That's what's common. Alright, but we still need some other things. We're going to go ahead and now we're going to look at the minimum, which is just 5, and the maximum, which is 25. And we're going to create our whiskers from there. So our whiskers are going to be just whiskers, and so 25, so since this is my 25 line, I'm going to draw a line there, but I'm going to only connect it with that, and you'll be able to see it over here now. My minimum is 5. So there is my box and whisker plot. What we have in here is we have a couple different things. First off, we see that it's really skewed to the left. It's really tailed to the left. This is holding some interesting things over here. So we want to be wary of that, and that's what we'll look at. But this normal right here, the distance between the Q3 and the Q1 is called my IQR. So my inner quartile range is my IQR. And that's going to take my Q3 and I'm going to subtract my Q1. So for my IQR here, I'm going to take my 24 minus my 19 and I get 5. My IQR is 5. So this is the distance in between here. This is my IQR box in here. That's the distance I'm looking for. And it just simply says that the middle 50% are separated by 5 points. That's all we're looking for. It's not saying that it is 5. It's not saying anything. The IQR is a range. How long is it being separated? But why that's important is, if we go back over here, everyone's looking at different outliers in a different way. But a simple way to look at it in stats is just saying, okay, how far are we willing to go? I always look at this in height. I'm 6'2". I'm tall, but I'm not that tall. If someone looks at me, they'd say, okay, yeah, you're normal. But if you stood next to Shaq, or if you stood next to a basketball player, or someone really tall, you look at him and say, hey, you are unique. You might be over here in your height. And so are you abnormal, or are you just in the normal range? And so we want to figure out what's in the normal range. And to do that, what we're going to look at is we're going to look at what I call the accepted normal. And this accepted normal means how far am I willing to go below Q3 and how far am I willing to go above Q3 below Q1. And that accepted normal is going to be equal to 1.5, always 1.5. Taking my normal, what I see normal, and adding a little bit more to it, times my IQR. My IQR is that range. So I'm going to take 1.5 times 5. So I take 1/2 of 5 is 2.5. So I'm willing to go above Q3, 7.5 points, and above Q1, 7.1 points. 7.5 points. So Q3, so to find my Q3, I'm going to then add on 7.5. So that's going to give me 31.5. And I'm going to take my Q1 and I'm going to subtract 7.5. And it's going to give me 19 minus 7.5 is 12, is 11.5. This is what I call my accepted maximum. So now, when I build my box plot, I'm going to keep that in mind. I only want to go to 11.5. So when I come up here and see all of these values, sure, I can have this guy, the 15, he's within that range, but these three are not. Look at these three. They're all below that 11.5. So my box plot has to change. And so if I look at making my box plot a little bit different with those values, here's my, let's say that's my, nice line. Let's say this is my line in here, and I have my 0, I have my 5, my 10, my 15, my 20, my 25. So I have my median still. My median was at 23. That didn't change. So this is, if this is 25, 23 is about right here. My Q3 is at 24. I have my max at 25. I want to make sure. So my max is at 25. That's under 31.5 right there. I'm not going to put it out here because it's not a data set. Now my minimum was at 21, or I'm sorry, 19. And then my minimum was all the way at 5. But what I want to look at is saying, what is my lowest accepted minimum? My lowest accepted minimum is 15. So now I can come over here, 0, 5, 10, 15, and I can add my 15 in here. This is my box plot. It's actually called a modified box plot because we got the outliers. We'll look at Desmos here next week, and we'll see it's not modified. So then what do I do with these guys? 5, 7, and 10. Well, we still want them. They're still important. 5, 7, and 10. Here, these are my outliers. Alright, so what are my 30-second takeaways from this? 1, don't forget about median, Q1, Q3. Then it separates the percentages that we're looking at, the middle 50, the top 75, the bottom 25. We can start using percentages to talk about those. Max and mins, how to build a box plot. The IQR is important. And then using the IQR to find the accepted normal, which gives me accepted max and min, that gives me my modified box plot. So use this video, watch this video, talk about this video. There will be a couple Khan Academies up for you guys to do before we get to next week building stuff out on Desmos. So I hope you guys have a great weekend and do those Khans.